begin this hour with the worldwide impact of the war with Iran. The U.S. and Israel continue to strike new targets throughout Iran, and that country's most powerful ally, China, is calling for peace talks. China is by far the biggest buyer of Iranian oil, so it has a financial interest in ending the war as well. This all comes ahead of a summit between President Trump and President Xi Jinping later this month. Anna Coren is in Beijing. Anna, good morning.
Good morning, Adriana. That's right. China is sending a special envoy to the Middle East in the hope of trying to de-escalate tensions. But when President Trump arrives here in Beijing in just over 3 weeks, energy security will certainly be top of the agenda for President Xi.
Under bleak winter skies, thousands of delegates arrived in Beijing for one of the most important dates in China's political calendar, the National People's Congress. But overshadowing proceedings, seismic events about 3,500 miles away, as the war in Iran continues with no end in sight.
Are you concerned about the war in Iran and how it will affect China? Do you think that this is part of President Trump's plan to contain China?
The US-led war on Iran has exposed China's Achilles heel, its reliance on oil and natural gas from the Persian Gulf. China is the largest importer of energy in the world and buys nearly all of Iran's sanctioned oil. Right now, its energy supply line has been severely disrupted. China is also one of Iran's closest allies. Inside the Great Hall of the People, Chinese leader Xi Jinping watched on as the Premier delivered the annual report and his country unveiled its new 5-year plan focusing on becoming technologically self-reliant.
Well, the 5-year plan is critical in setting out China's strategy. The outcome of the war in the Middle East could have a much larger impact on the long-term future of China's economy.
Facing a growing rivalry with the US, China is continuing to spend on defence and is aiming for global supremacy in selected areas of technology, including AI and quantum computing, Beijing's own vision for the future.
Now, China is doing everything it can to shore up its stockpile of oil. But look, there could be benefits for China if this is a protracted conflict. If the US is draining all its resources, its military hardware, and also then losing focus on its greatest power rival, it could in fact benefit China. Vlad.
Yeah, Anna, we've just all been saying how critical this piece of what's happening in the Middle East is, the China angle, which you've been covering. And I know it's not easy to cover the news from Beijing. So thank you very much.
And also so great for Anna to be at the National People's Congress. Anna, as I know you know, I used to be based in Beijing, so I remember sitting almost in that exact same seat there. And they have representatives from all over the country. It really is a diverse country, but it's largely symbolic because the power really is centralized at the top.
The question is, when do they come to the table and start to say this is really hurting our economy to the United States? What is the end game here?
Well, and, you know, as you heard, a less than 5% growth target. We haven't seen that from them. Then you have to pay for more expensive oil. It's going to put a crunch on them.
Yep, it's going to hurt. All right, Anna Coren in Beijing, as always, we thank you very much.